Welcome to SEPSA Talk. I am Evans Apia Kisi, the host of SEPSA Talk. SEPSA is Center for Better Society Advocacy and Research Africa. SEPSA Africa is a non-profit organization that believes in a better society for all. We in SEPSA Africa believe that a better society begins with you and I. Hashtag, a better society begins with me. For more information, please log on to the various social media platforms. YouTube, SEPSA Talk, Facebook at SEPSA Africa, Instagram, SEPSA Africa, and Twitter at SEPSA Africa. Don't also forget to subscribe if you've not subscribed to our YouTube channel, SEPSA Talk. Like always, today we bring you another interesting discussion on the topic civil society organizations and good governance in Ghana. Generally speaking, I think every person across the world yearns for good governance, a form of governance that takes decisions and implements them following the rule of law that benefits the entire society. In today's episode of SEPSA Talk, what we do is to look at one of the growing civil society organizations in Ghana, SEPSA Africa, in order to unpack the role of SEPSA Africa in good governance. And to help us deal with such important issues is our own Mr. Albert Kobina Mensah. He's currently the CEO of SEPSA Africa. He's also a doctoral researcher at Ruhr University, Bochum, Germany. He was Master of Science in Water Resources from Kenyatta University, Nairobi, Kenya. He was Bachelor of Science in Agricultural Sciences from University of Cape Coast, Ghana. And his interest lies in good governance, better society, and advocacy. I must say, it's always a pleasure to host you, sir. Welcome to SEPSA Talk, Mr. Albert Kobina Mensah, popularly known as AK Mensah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Apiakisi, and it's a pleasure being on this platform again. I've always been at the background as a host, but today I appear as a guest on the show, and I'm pleased to be here.
Great, thank you very much. And for those of you joining us via Facebook, we welcome you once again to SEPSA Talk. I call them our fellow Sepsarians. Thank you also to Edmond, who is standing by and producing this show. Thank you also for some of the audience right here on Zoom. So we'll just begin right away, Albert. And if I may ask you, I know SEPSA Africa, of course, I'm also a part of it, which is one of the civil society organizations in Ghana. The question people have been asking is about the role of these civil society organizations. And the question I ask you is, do you think that CSOs over the years have influenced good governance in Ghana, and why? Why do you think that the many CSOs that we have in Ghana, whether they've had any role as far as good governance in Ghana is concerned?
Thank you very much, Dr. Apiakisi, and it's a pleasure being here once again. Good evening from Germany to all our listeners, and good morning, good afternoon to wherever you find yourself. When we talk about civil society organizations, the role of civil society organizations in good governance, not only in Africa, but across the globe, cannot be overemphasized. I must stress here that civil society organizations are very key towards participatory governance. Most often, governance is not a sole proprietorship. Governance is not something that in Ghana we say nyansa nipa bakupe litrim. So to wait, it means that one person does not a good sense is not only in one person's head. That is why we need to consult. That is why we need to make sure that we judge your ideas. We come together as a society. That is why civil society organizations are very key. Now, Evans, permit me to take you through some key elements of civil society organizations and why they matter. Now, we have an agenda. There is a sustainability blueprint called Agenda 21. Now, Agenda 21 is an international blueprint that outlines actions that government, international organizations, industries, and the community should take to achieve sustainability. Now, this particular environmental or this particular blueprint of sustainable development encompasses 26 principles towards sustainable development in the 21st century. Now, under these 27 principles, principle number 1 talks about the fact that human beings are at the center of sustainable development. Now, when you go to one of the principles, the principle is divided into 4 sections. The 4 sections, section number 2 talks about the role of civil society organizations. Now, when you come to principle number 10 of what is called Agenda 21, Agenda 21 principle number 10 states that any sustainable development cannot be done without participation of the local people. You understand me? Another thing, one of the principles that also states is principle number 20. It talks about the role of women. There's another principle that also talks about the role of the indigenous people. That is principle number 22. There's another principle that talks about the role of the youth. Now, why I'm saying this is that it means that all of us want to come together to ensure building good governance. That is why civil society organizations are key. Now, if you could allow me, I could take you through some of the key things that civil society organizations have been involved in Ghana to ensure good governance.
All right, go ahead, please.
As a matter of fact, the last time I appeared on this show, and when I was on this show, I was talking about a country without civil society organizations is like a child without a mother, or it's like a child without parent or a father, because nobody would check the child. Now, you know what most governments do? Most government, in many jurisdictions, employ something we call the DAD, the defend, announce, we call it the decide, announce, and defend. Now, they decide what they want to do. They come and announce to the people, and they line up political party faithfuls, and they defend everything the opposition, the incumbent says. And they also criticize and oppose everything the opposition says. Now, so who represent the people? It is the civil society organizations that represent the people. Civil society organizations represent the unheard in the society. Now, when you come to Ghana, civil society organizations like the CDD, like the Money Ghana, like South Africa, had been involved in the fight against corruption. Now, when you read the Transparency International report, most often it is stated that many of the countries that are scoring high, like Mauritius, Botswana, Rwanda, and other OECD countries that are performing well, are countries where there's a vibrant CSOs. So we should take note of that. Now, CSOs ensure transparency and accountability. You remember when the Ejapadi came? We remember when the Ejapadi came, it was the CSOs that rose against the Ejapa deal. And all what the CSOs were doing, they were speaking for the unheard. They were speaking for the underprivileged. They were speaking for the people, for the people on the ground. The CSOs highlighted the content of the Ejapa deal for the Ghanaian people to make an informed decision. At the end of the day, the Ejapa deal, we don't know whether it was boycotted, but we learned that it may be brought back to Parliament, but I think it has been put on hold. But still, CSOs do matter. We could also talk about the building of the National Cathedral. Okay, now, you know, Ghana is faced with so many problems. We don't hate our country. Okay, anybody who talks about Ghana means the person loves the country, because Even when you read a good book in the Bible, it says, as many as I love, I rebuke them. So if you don't love somebody, whatever the person does, you don't care. But if you love someone, the person's interests matter to you. So you care. So when we talk about Ghana, it doesn't mean that we hate Ghana, but because we want Ghana to do well. So that when the National Cathedral came, you remember, CSOs raised against the National Cathedral. Okay, they spoke about the inefficiencies in the system. They spoke about priorities, where we should invest our priorities. Okay, whether the National Cathedral will come off or not, at the end of the day, the CSOs brought the issues into limelight for the people. We remember, maybe I can also end here. We remember the right to
for us. I think it's
sorry, maybe I can end here. Sure. You remember the right to information bill. The right to information bill was championed by few individuals in the country that belong to CSOs. So without CSOs, we could just imagine a country without CSOs. People could steal and they could do whatever they want. So CSOs do matter in building a sustainable economy and ensuring good governance and transparency in everywhere, not only in Ghana. Thank you.
But just briefly, I mean, without CSOs, people could steal and all that. But there are CSOs, but people are stealing. Or what did you want to say with that statement?
So you can imagine. So even if there are CSOs and still there are so many rot ongoing, you could imagine without CSOs. Okay, at least to some extent, we'll judge your ideas. We will shout, we'll talk. Okay, it's just like your child does something wrong. Okay, you tend to rebuke the child. Okay, then after that, you bring the child back to your arms again. Okay, so you could imagine. Okay, it is said that spare the child and spare the rod and spare the child. Okay, when you spare the rod, you're going to spoil the child. So, like I said, CSOs are like mothers. Okay, they are like overseers. Okay, and the country is like our baby. Okay.
Sure. Thank you very much, Albert. We'll definitely come to Sub-Saharan Africa as one of the CSOs in Ghana, but there are a few criticisms against CSOs. I mean, two of them would be that they feel they always know it all. What's your take on that? And also, are they really neutrals? Just a brief one. Do you think that, I mean, we've had this discussion before. You feel that CSOs of late, they feel that they know it all. They set their own they set their own assignments and they mark their own scripts, and they feel that they are neutrals. But a lot of people have said you cannot have neutrality in politics. How do you react to that?
This is a very tough question. I cannot actually speak for CSOs, but I am going to actually highlight my opinion. My opinion is that I think CSOs should remain on board. They should remain on board. They should remain neutral. Because if the CSOs are in bed with the government of the day, then you could imagine the consequences, because these are the people who speak for us. You remember when there were examination leakages in the ongoing WASI, it was one CSO that brought the issue into limelight. So if such CSO is bought at the end of the day, then we will not be able to hear about the dooms. We will not be able to hear about the darks in deals, especially in government, and we are doomed. So, but I must emphasize here that CSOs do not know it all. We don't claim to know it all. Okay, like what we are doing today, we don't know it all. We are joining ideas. Okay, if you do it this way, could you take this alternative? Could you shift the paradigm a bit like this? Okay, so we are not self-righteous. We don't know it all, but then we do matter in building a participatory governance and a democratic society.
Thank you very much, Albert Kobna-Mensah. So if you are just joining the show via Facebook or Zoom here today, we are looking at the role of CSOs in influencing good governance in Ghana, and we particularly focus more on Sub-Saharan Africa as one of the growing civil society organizations in Ghana. Now, Albert, you have highlighted a few of the things that CSOs do in order to influence good governance in Ghana. You've spoken about a few policies that they have impacted positively. And as I hinted earlier on, we know one of the growing CSOs is Sub-Saharan Africa. Would you want to share with us some of the strategies or approaches? What has Sub-Saharan Africa done in terms of the approach in influencing good governance? We'll probably come to the things that you have done specifically. But when someone hears of Sub-Saharan Africa, what particular thing can the person put his or her hand on to say that this is their approach of influencing public policies in Ghana?
Yeah, I think that's a very excellent question. When it comes to building a better society, I stand for a better society. In fact, my whole being, I eat, I drink, I bath, I do everything. It centers around better society. You know, some people even call me better society. As a matter of fact, my approach and our approach in South Africa may be quite different in the sense that I think that to be able to build a better society, it involves two main strategies. Okay, there was this sensational demonstration ongoing about the Fix the Country campaign. Some people are saying fix yourself, others are saying fix the country. Okay, I don't know the day whether we fix ourselves or we fix the country, we are still living in the country. To wait, whatever we do to the country, good or bad, we are in. Okay, so I think that the approach should be two-way. It should be binary. Okay, one of the approach is to look at the aggregate scale and to look at the micro scale. Okay, now if we talk about the micro scale and aggregate scale, that is to say that all of us are involved. When South Africa, we specifically chose the song Nyanara Assassini for as a prelude for our talks, because we want to imbibe in people to let them know that this society is ours. Okay, probably now people are going to space. Okay, but me and you don't have that money to go to space now. And maybe people are exploring Mars and all that, but now this is our Earth. This is where we live. So we need to be good to the Earth. So the approach is two. One, to focus on those at the macro scale, that is leadership on top. Okay, then once we are tackling leadership and asking leadership to fix the country, we also want to fix ourselves. We also want to fix the citizens. We want to fix mindset. Okay, so the mindset is more or less at the decentralized level, the micro scale. Then the leadership is at the macro scale. Now, if you talk about so let me take it from the citizens' point of view, which is the micro scale, by imbibing and trying to change mindset and causing people to think right, to fix ourselves, to be able to contribute to better society. And of course, like this man said, Bob Marley said, we need to free ourselves from mental slavery. Okay, we need to free ourselves. We need to think right, and that we need to become good human beings. We need to become good human beings in building a better society. So I focus on the citizens, ourselves. Now, by doing that, we tend to do more of public lectures. We tend to do more of we focus at the people at the primary school, people at the pre-tertiary, people at the universities, where we do more of public education. We do public lectures. We do capacity building. We do advocacy, and also recently we started doing virtual seminars and webinars. Okay, so that is by trying to change mindset. Someone criticized and asked that if you change mindset and the person is hungry, what is he going to do? But I tell you that if you change mindset and when you cause people to think right, the economy will do well at the end of the day, because this person at the basic school or at the university will not grow up and enter into institutions, become a boss in an institution, and he's going to steal because he has been taught right. Okay, you know, I have always argued that our education should imbibe in us the tenet of better society right from the primary school, so that we become responsible citizens for the society, okay? Whilst for the society, whilst we are also taught to be better for ourselves. So Sub-Saharan Africa focuses on that citizens aspect by changing mindset. Then at the macro scale, leadership, we also tend to critique leadership. We tend to critique governance, and we tend to punch holes into whatever is happening in the country. Now, when we punch holes into whatever is happening in the country, we don't just sit down, but we come up with alternative best paradigms that we can take. So these are some of the things we've done over the years at the macro scale. Okay, we realize that we do this through press releases. Okay, we do this through press releases, and one of the things we also do is to do more of this our talk. I'll come to this our talk, but the press releases we have over the past years, we've made not less than of 11 press releases, and these press releases touch on cogent things affecting our democracy and our society. We remember in 2018 we celebrated 2017 we celebrated Ghana 60. We remember, so Ghana 60. Okay, if they say Ghana is independent, well, that is a debate for another time. Okay, I think we have chalked some successes. Of course, we've made some progress. We've come very far in terms of poverty. Poverty had been reduced and all that. We can't say Ghana in 1990, the poverty in 1990 is the same as now. But I think that we can do better. There are more to be done. So we celebrated Ghana at 60. When we did the Ghana at 60, remember that a committee was set up. And they were charged to generate 20 million Ghana cedis. And this 20 million Ghana cedis was going to be used to build 10 libraries, 6 libraries in each of the 10 regions. So we're going to have 60 libraries. Dr. Kisi, we asked ourselves, we are in 2017, this is 4 years. We asked ourselves, how many of these libraries have been built? Has any of these libraries been built? What happened to the committee? The fact that they were charged with 20 million Ghana cedis, what happened? So Sub-Saharan Africa in 2018 released made a press statement, and we asked that we need to investigate what happened at Ghana at 60, the committee, and the money they were charged with. So that was something of one of the press releases that we did. And another thing that one press release that we did was to call for abolishment or reduction of filing fees for presidential candidates. And this is something that we did during the election year, because when we tend to increase and to make the fees for filing fees for presidential candidates, when you tend to make it very high, okay, those things tend to sort of monetize our democracy, okay, and it relegates people with ideas to the background, because Evans, you may have brilliant ideas, but you may not be able to pay the filing fees for NDC, even at the delegate level or at the primaries level. You may be very brilliant, but you may not be able to pay the filing fee at the delegate level for MPP, because you know it's about money. Okay, and I think we in South Africa argued that when we make the filing fee very exorbitant and very expensive, okay, people are not able to come up, and it is going to be about the highest bidder. Politics is for the highest bidder. So maybe then we also came and we made a call for abolishment of ex gratia. Okay, we stand for better society. My brother, it is very sad that we pay ex gratia. Someone works for 4 years, then when he finishes at the end of his tenure, we come back and say we are going to pay you arrears. We're going to calculate back and give you ex gratia, ex gratuities. Okay, and if you're going to give this, how many of these ex gratias are paid to teachers? Okay, how many ex gratias of this nature are paid to lecturers.
Sure. Let me stop you there. I think that it's quite clear with the approach of sorry for interrupting, with the approach of SEPSA Africa, which I really love. So you talked about two main approaches. That's one where you kind of focus on leadership, and which you describe as the macro level or the aggregate level. And then the second approach is where you focus on citizens or followership, which you describe more as the micro level. And I think these are brilliant strategies that you are adopting. And then you did mention some of the things, some of the activities that you carry out in order to focus on these two key strategies that you talked about, which is about SEPSA Talk. I'll come to that. It's also why we are here today. But also press releases, public lectures, workshops, virtual seminars, and the likes. But because you brought in this point of public release, I just want us to be clear. Would you, and of course, I'm part of SEPSA Africa, we did release this, we did release the issue on the Ghana at 60 and then the filing fee. But you and I know that nothing really was done about it. But to the ordinary Ghanaian, do feel this is a failure on the part of CSOs that we release all these press, we release all these statements admonishing the government to do certain things, but yet they do not do it, and then we go back to square one. Do you feel that it's a failure on the part of SEPSA Africa or generally on CSOs? That's why people feel that what are these people doing? After all, they don't bite; they just back. Well,
yeah.
How do you react to such statements?
I think that's a very brilliant question. This is more or less like asking a professor to leave his lab where we generate research findings to also sort of go and implement. These are some of the general statements people make. You are a PhD. What have you built a car? Can you build aeroplane? Can you build helicopters? I think these are misguided stereotypes. Okay, professors are not trained to build cars. Okay, we are trained as scientists, as research scientists, to generate findings with cogent quantitative values that if you increase the hectare by 20, you're going to increase your yield by this amount. Okay, the onus lies on the part of government to implement these ideas that work. So CSOs are lacking to that. CSOs, as a matter of fact, we are not making noise. Look, Evans, ideas do move nations. What nations need are not do tanks. Nations need think tanks, tanks that think. That is what nations need. You know why? Because just one application of one idea can change nations. You see how people do postdoctoral fellowships, people do how people get on PhD positions on projects. Okay, just imagine how one idea that was written by a professor got a project and employed a number of people. Now look at the number of the poverty how much of poverty that has been cut off. Okay, that is just an application of one idea. Okay, we need a nation with ideas, and the ideas are in the heads of people who are very knowledgeable. Okay, now when you go to many countries, you ask yourself, there are so many countries that are not well resourced. Many countries are not well resourced. Ghana is lucky. We are blessed with gold, diamond, and all that. Okay, now you ask yourself, you go to a country, you don't have gold, you don't have diamond, you don't have bauxite. How do you feed yourself? That is where knowledge economy comes in. Look, the best way to turn a nation around is engineering of knowledge economy. And CSOs generate these ideas. And I think that if government were to implement all these ideas, okay, Ghana would have been a very better place for all of us living. That is why we need governance where there is political will to implement ideas that have been put forward by various organizations, by various CSOs. It doesn't matter, though sometimes it's questionable because this CSO is questionable, or probably the person, that particular CSO is not so much clear. But for you, what you want is the idea that has been suggested.
True, I absolutely agree with you, Albert. I also want to add that sometimes it might not necessarily yield the needed results immediately. But believe me, most of these press releases, they've had effect later on. I bet you one day someone would immediately refer to what SEPSA Africa released about these libraries. There's going to be a day a new government is going to come, someone is going to ask for an accountability of this committee that was set up. And then one could refer to some of these press releases. And it's always good that we speak up to issues. I think we are better off speaking up to issues than keeping quiet. If not, we all suffer. And so people should not give up. It's obvious that CSOs do not wield the power that politicians have, and they are not the ones on the implementing table. And so they might not necessarily be able to change things. And so I also think it should not be seen as a failure on the part of CSOs. That's their job. They are supposed to speak. We need to talk until change comes to us. Thank you very much, Albert, for the answer, also bringing in the aspect of research and how professors are to churn out evidence-based research for policymakers to implement it on the ground, just as CSOs are also able to, come out with some of these ideas for the nation to be able to move forward. But let's come back again to SEPSA Talk, which is when you talked about your two approaches. You said one of the ways with which you focus on leadership and followership is through SEPSA Talk. And we know that SEPSA Talk has been in existence for more than a year now. Last week, I was a guest myself where we looked at the journey so far. And talking about CSOs and the fact that SEPSA Talk is one of the things that you do in order to influence policy. I think we are interested. So far, for more than a year now, can you outline some of the major discussions and analysis on good governance so far? If you can be brief with some of the topics that you feel really touched on good governance, both on leadership and on followership, I think it would be good for our viewers here.
Thank you so much. I think this is going to be a very difficult thing to do, to sort of carve some out of the lot, because we've done not less than 54 videos, and with these 54 more than 54 videos, all these videos are touching on better society, good governance, leadership, followership, all of them. Okay, but as a matter of fact, we have talked about many things. We talk about political tribalism, which is an emerging term that is actually coming up. Political tribalism, where people do not now align themselves with their tribes, but they align themselves with political parties. Okay, and we could see in cases where MPP, for instance, is winning seat in Volta region, and we could see in cases where NDC is winning seat in Ashanti region, which means that people are now aligning themselves to political tribes rather than their clans and their ethnicity or ethnic groups. And this is something that we need to break. It is something that we need to break, because as a matter of fact, we need to vote for a party that is capable of bringing change. Okay, change that puts smiles on the faces of everybody. Not because of my selfish interest. I belong to MPP, I belong to NDC, I belong to CPP, I belong to independent candidate. So it means that is all. But you look at which party has the message that is capable of lifting the many out of poverty and setting them on the path of prosperity. Okay, now we also did talk about democracy in Africa, politics and elections in Africa, And we did answer a question whether it is democracy or it is monocracy. But of course, the many characteristics that actually are associated with our kind of politics in Ghana, one is tempted to conclude that our politics is more of monocratic than democratic. That is what one is tempted to conclude. Because, of course, one of the characteristics of a monocratic society is where you see expensive billboards being mounted, big political campaigns, people are dancing, okay? Where it is about seriousness, people are dancing to Palogo and, you know, Palogo there. People are mounting stages and they are dancing, okay? These are all characteristics of monocratic, where people share items, they pay electorate, okay? And also you could see people pack electorate in cars and they are sending them to go and vote. All these are funny characteristics of a monocratic society, which paradigms need to be shifted. Now, we also talk about corruption in Africa and the missing paradigms. We saw that our corruption at home is more of systemic and structural, which all these things we need to try and do something about it. Then we have seen that over the past years, our politics has been ruled by duopolic system or duopolitics. It is more of a duopoly, because if it is not MPP, it is NDC. And we were trying to see if we can break it. I don't know whether that could be broken, but that is also another discussion to be had another day. We talk about mining in Ghana, and we took a look at whether mining in Ghana is a blessing or a curse. And we also talk about small-scale mining. So, and one other thing that we did that was very interesting was to look at interrogating the manifesto, which is a paradigm from many of the discussions that have been held on many media platforms, because it was not a matter of MPP right, NDC left, and it's about whose manifesto is better. But we took a look at the feasibility of the promises, the viability of the promises, and the implementability of the promises. And we broke all the sectors down, from agriculture to economics, to finance, to the health sector, to energy, to many of the sectors, and we broke all those down for our motive, or our objective was on the voter, so that the voter will be able to make an informed choice and informed decision. So these are some of the things that we've done. But if you ask me about some of the ones that are key, all of them, of course, I really loved the crowd control and the security in Ghana, the crowd control, because that came after the Ejura issue, okay? Because now, though we are not in Ghana, but we hear of people are being murdered broad daylight. There is armed robbery ongoing. People are picking guns and shooting people, and some are also using people for rituals. You know, it's interesting. It's interesting that all these things are happening, and you see, before our very own eyes. Evans, we cannot say it all, but the key one also among all, one of the take-home discussions was whether mining is a blessing or a curse. And this question could be answered by just taking a look at what happens in mining communities. When you go to mining communities, if you want to see whether mining is a blessing or a curse, look at their environment. One, look at their social fabric, and look at the economic or the commercial activities of these people. Okay, now in terms of social, look at their roads. Okay, in terms of environment, look at the extent of water pollution, look at the extent of land degradation. Okay, now at the end of the day, look at employment, okay, of the indigenous in the mining communities. At the end of the day, you'll be able to answer the question whether mining is a blessing or a curse. Because mind you, that Ghana is the leading producer of gold in the whole of Africa and hovers somewhere around 6 to 7 position in the whole world. Okay, but look at what mining has done to our country. Mining communities are characterized by bad roads. They are characterized by heinous diseases. Okay. Then another key thing also about that particular discussion was the distribution of the mining revenue. Okay, you know, mining companies pay royalties of around 6 to I think 6% of the total sales of their revenue. And out of this 6%, 80% goes to the central government, and the 20% is one that is distributed to the local community. And you know what happens at the end of the day, Evans, 1.8% is the only fraction that goes to the mining community. So you ask yourself whether you mine in Obuasi and you send all the money to central government and 1.8% of all the money comes back to the community, then you are tempted to answer the question that the mining is going to become a curse more than a blessing to the people.
Interesting. Thank you very much, A.K. Mensah. So there's been a lot of programs. I mean, virtually all the programs that we have discussed and analyzed on SEPSA Talk, I must say, they are programs that influence the policy and good governance in Ghana. And I would entreat our viewers and our followers that if you have time, do go to YouTube, type SEPSA Talk or SEPSA Africa, and then you will see most of our videos that we've uploaded. And I bet you would learn something. But I want to ask this very last question, which is a very tricky one. To some extent, I've already asked that question already, and I'm just building it up because I think it's one area that we need to look at. And what is this question about? So we've had all these programs because you and I, together with Edmond, who is producing the show today, a few times we've had people who have walked to us and have said that, so after all this talk, what next? What's the relevance of these things? So what? We've had people questioning what's the impact of what you are doing, and I think it goes back to a general question also for our various media houses in Ghana and our various CSOs and what they are doing. But let's just limit this to just SEPSA Talk and the programs that we've organized so far. So what?
Yeah.
So the issues that you talked about, is there something that SEPSA Africa is doing beyond the usual talk? Or going back to your earlier analogy that it is somehow not our work because we are only just to talk? And then you add, if you could also add on to what has been, so it's back to the same thing, what has been the impact of these things apart from telling people, educating and informing people? And I know in some cases, these things have also fed into the policies that have been drafted. I have no doubt in my mind that some of our discussions have actually also got into the mainstream media and they've received the needed attention and they've been talked about. One of the things I also liked that we discussed was the issue around the teenage pregnancy. You know, this also caught wild attention. A lot of people followed the discussion and they carried on. But again, what next?
Yeah. This question is it's not trivial, but it's very important. You know, it's very interesting. Evans, I must repeat myself that the way to go is a knowledge economy. Okay, I will speak a few here. Now, Professor Opoku Entry will tell you that wisdom is learned at school, is taught. Wisdom. Look, we don't use we don't use house wisdom to build hospitals. We don't use house wisdom to manage faculties. We don't use house wisdom to do operation, surgical operation. We use knowledge. Wisdom is knowledge in motion. Wisdom is application of knowledge. So wisdom is a subset of knowledge. Now, you know, I'm coming back to your question. You see how certain economies have been built. You go to a place, they don't have gold. If we don't have gold, how are you going to survive? We will build gold museum. Okay, we don't have diamond. We're going to build diamond museum. We don't have timber. We're going to build biodiversity museum. Okay, we don't have money. We will build money museum. This is what is called knowledge economy, because knowledge matters. And I must reiterate here that we don't need do tanks. What we need are tanks that think, tanks that incubate ideas. Okay, you know, it's interesting. You know, look, what you are doing here, it's not for a joke. Okay, because it is not a platform where we come and insult, or it's a platform where we come and churn out this person is a fool, this is idiot. No, we come here to discuss issues that border on national development, and when we are able to implement it, everybody will be happy. I must emphasize here that, Evans, in public policy and in advocacy, we don't yearn to save everybody. When only one soul is saved, that is enough. That is impact right there. That is impact right there. When one soul is saved, you can imagine the multiplier effect. Okay, and that is going to break poverty. So what you are doing here, someone might think that it's about talks and it ends here. No, it doesn't end here. It doesn't end here. I tell you that someone is going to get impacted. That idea, when we are dead and gone, it will be carried on. There will be multiplier effect. Poverty will be curtailed, and the vicious cycle will be broken. Imagine, you remember we did a webinar where we taught people how to apply, how to write professors to be able to get admission for PhDs and to be able to seek scholarships abroad for master studies, right?
True. We did.
Yes, you can imagine. And that is not a joke. Okay, all of us, me and you, have come far. We have come far because we learned the art and skills of writing emails. Do you know that there's people who have problems with writing emails? Because there's some emails, when they write to a professor, the professor will even get irked.
True.
Okay, so all these things have been taught to people. And now when the person is able to win admission and get into wherever he wants to go, poverty is going to be halved. Poverty is going to be broken, because if it is said that when you educate a man, you educate an individual. When you educate a woman, you educate the masses. An educated mother, an educated woman, okay, is an empowered woman. And I tell you that research has established that, and most often women that are more educated tend to have children that are also more educated, and poverty is more in parents that are not educated than those women that are more educated. And this is these are some of the things that this is impact.
True.
Some of this impact, Evans, we cannot measure this impact, because we whatever we are doing here, we are not doing it for today. It is for posterity. And I tell you that whatever we are doing will remain till thy kingdom comes. And that idea could be taken at a point in time, and it will be propagated, it will be replicated elsewhere. And poverty will be broken. And I tell you that Ghana will be a better place when we are gone, for all of us to do well.
Thank you very much, A.K. Mensah. And before we end the show very soon, I'll come back with a follow-up question. We have a question here from Zoom, and then I also have a follow-up question. I'll first of all read some few messages from Facebook. One from Abraham Yale says, knowledge is powerful. I think that perhaps this sums up what you just said about what next. So I think what is next is to continue to produce knowledge and ideas. And someone just sent me a private message that she really liked what you said, that we don't build hospitals with, what did you even say? We don't build hospitals
with house wisdom.
With house wisdom. That's powerful. Of course, we
don't do operation with house wisdom.
Surgical operations with house wisdom.
Or COVID-19, when it came, it was not house wisdom that got us the vaccine. It was knowledge, application of knowledge, biology.
And one from our own Braco Ananedu says, intelligence-led policing is critically important if the police are to be on top of the robbers and other crimes. political will to be fighting crime is also important. I think it's in relation with the security topic that you talked about, and the youth budget and associated unemployment is catching up with us. We have not been serious with youth unemployment. That is why the robberies and ritual murders are rampant. I think this we also talked about in our earlier discussion on youth unemployment. And then economic security is missing in the language of our national debate, and we must bring that discussion to be part of the debate. I'm sure we might pick this up as a future topic, economic security in Ghana. But Albert, I totally agree with you that obviously the CSOs, it's important that we produce this knowledge, and people should realize that these knowledge and ideas are important because we currently live in a knowledge economy and we need ideas to be able to build a country. If I'm to answer some of your questions, I feel that, and maybe you've not realized this, but I think one of the things that Sub-Saharan Africa perhaps has also done differently is the fact that we have not only talked, we have not only issued public statements, organized public lectures, at least. And I know we would have a big program on this, but if I'm permitted to already say that most of the things that we have done, the president of Sub-Saharan Africa has already written a book about it. And I think this is one next level that we need. I know you've been preaching this already, that we should document the things that we do. And I think these are some of the things that CSOs could also be doing, not just talking, but we should start documenting some of these things, put them somewhere so that people can have access to them. But there's a very beautiful question here from Edmond. He says, which I agree, when you say we don't need do things, then who will implement the output to the thinking? If we do not need do things, who implements these ideas? Briefly.
When I say we don't need do tanks, what we need are tanks that think tanks. Okay, it's like, you see, think tanks are like gene banks of ideas. Okay, now when I say we don't need do tanks, literally it doesn't mean we don't need them. Okay, but the point I'm trying to make is that think tanks supersede do tanks.
So wait, sorry, let me try and also make it simple and break it down. So I think we all agree. Okay, so this think tanks, generally they are supposed to produce ideas. If I understand this question, if it's not clear, Edmond, you can come in and answer. So who implements these ideas?
I agree. That's very tricky. That's very tricky. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, we are going to have another set of people that are going to implement the ideas. Okay, but it is more or less like a cycle. Okay, it's like a cycle. It's more or less like a cycle, just like how a product is formed. It is one step to the other. If you don't exhaust the first step, you can't get to the second step. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that knowledge economy, okay, which are more or less incubated by thinking tanks, okay, supersedes those who are going to implement them. But at the end of the day, in the society, I think I must end here. In the society, we need one aspect of the society that also takes those ideas and implement them. But that is not to sideline or to relegate their importance, by the way. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Sorry, thank you very much, Ikimensa. Because of our time, I would allow Edmond to make an interjection. So I would allow him to speak. But before Edmond comes, I think there's also another question from Zoom here. Aside this platform, from James, aside this platform, does Sub-Saharan talk rights to people within the authority, that's government, to implement them?
I think, Evans, you can answer this question.
So I mean, yeah, basically, yes, we do that.
Yeah.
So Albert already talked about the press releases. We do copy almost all the media houses.
Yeah.
And government agencies.
Yeah, and it's most often we have spoken a lot on TV, a lot on radio, and they have heard all these things.
True.
Okay, so, and you know, the media is the fourth arm of government. Yeah. So government itself, media houses itself, when our issues get to the media house, that is, it has gotten to government. Because assuming Evans, you have idea, okay, you go to the president, Mr. Eduse goes to the president, Edmond goes to the president. Then why is the president then? Okay, it's going to be a problem. That is why things are channeled through specific ways, and one of the ways is to use the media houses. Okay, this thing that we are doing, it goes viral. Everybody listens. Okay, you chance upon it, just like we do research. You find the material, this material, wow, it answers my question. Okay.
Sure, and I also want to add this before I allow you. I think Edmond feels his question has been answered now. Before I allow you to conclude, because our time is fast spent, is that, James, that was a brilliant one. But sometimes also what we also think that we should be telling policymakers and those in government that they should also source for literature. I think one time we hosted one Dr. Bansa here who said any serious economy would source for literature. So I mean, extending it, what I mean is that any serious politician would also seek for ideas from some of these CSOs. But yes, trust me, the CSOs have always been pushing. We try to write to those in authority, though sometimes it's very difficult for them to even respond to some of these things. But I hope that a day would come that our politicians and policymakers would also understand that they also need to source literature. They need to go to these CSOs to learn from them, because I guess governance is not just for one particular person, it's for all of us, and we all have to play a part in order to move the country forward. So Albert, moving forward, what next? I keep on coming back to this, what next, but what next for CEPSA Africa, for CEPSA Talk, for CSOs in terms of good governance?
As a matter of fact, if you ask me about what next, I think I may want to reiterate briefly some of the that whatever we are doing should not be taken lightly. This is serious time business. This is serious. Okay, you know, Dr. Kisi, you see a country where they are showing people how to steal, how lazy ways of making money on TV. Okay, funny animals vomiting money on TV. Nobody talks about it. Okay, why don't we get these animals to vomit money for the Central Bank of Ghana so that all our woes will be solved? And you see, a TV house and media houses open their channels and they do this. Nobody talks about it. Do you know the implications of that on the society? The next time your child that is walking around at the backyard, that boy is going to catch him and is going to use him for rituals. 21st century, who does that? Who does that? So, and we are talking about this, and someone will be like, oh, after all the talks, we have talk, but this is the reality. Even though we are talking, look at what is happening. We are a group of people that we cheat in examination. Okay, people buy examination materials for their wars. People pay invigilators so that they allow them to cheat in exams. Okay, now when such child grows, he goes into institution, he cheat. He goes to the university, he cheat. He goes to the ministry, he cheat. That child becomes a doctor. At the end of the day, he's going to operate you and he's going to kill you. This is the consequence of that inaction we did when we produced people badly from the beginning. Okay, these are serious things which ramification. That is why a policeman can stand on the road and take bribe. My brother, that means that he's going to kill all the people in the vehicle. I think that we are paying for our coins, our inactions. We are paying. That's why in my book I talk about anthropogenic inequalities created by us and the consequent repercussions. Look, whatever we are doing, okay, from the start, that is the ramification we are seeing at the top. You see your leaders. We talk about our leaders. You are not happy. I'm ending here. You are not happy about your leaders. You are not happy. But your leaders, did they come from America? No. The leaders, did they come from Sky? No, where did they come from? They came from among us. They all schooled in Ghana. All of us schooled. They came from among us. So our leaders are epitomes. They are architecture. Okay, they are symptomatic appendages of what we produced. We produced from the background. So what next? What next about for South Africa? What next? We are still going to preach the messages of better society, so that A 15-year-old boy will not go and kill the brother who is 10 years that he's going to buy a car.
Mm.
So we are going to preach all these messages so that people will know that we need to question source of wealth. You don't stand up and become millionaire. We need to question where you made your money. Was it legitimate? Was it genuine? We need to shift these paradigms. So we are still going to talk about it. You know, you go to the market, and the market woman gives you rotten tomatoes, rotten eggs, and the market woman say, "My chicken." These are all evils in the society we are not talking about. You know, you go to Circle, you go to many places, we are going to buy a phone, someone gives you soap. What kind of society is that? Someone gives you soap, and the person is like, I've outsmarted this guy. I came to buy phone, you have given me soap, and you think you have outsmarted me? These are things we need to talk about. You know, in Ghana, there are cases where blood that is used to save people go and steal blood from the hospital, because we are not engineering those group of individuals, those group of citizens from the start who are capable of thinking right and putting national interest topmost priority. We are not producing those people. That is why someone can go up there and one person can look at what's happening at all. One person can amass all the wealth for himself. The rest of us, we should go and die.
Thank you. AK, I'm sure if we allow you, we could go on and on and on and on and on. But I think a few things that I picked from your summary and your ranting is that perhaps we should check the content that we put on media, because it's important that the things that we do, they are things that do create knowledge that would benefit the greater part of the society. I hope that we'll get there. Mind you, also, I need to also say that because of social media, sometimes some of these media houses that we blame for not producing quality content, we live in a free world. Anybody can go on Facebook, go to Facebook Live and try to put out any content whatsoever. But I hope that at least the ones that we have people in authority who are supposed to check content of these media, they will be able to do their work well, so that we'll consume, good information and good education in Ghana. But let me read one comment from Facebook. Gabriel Fiapono says, on the case of knowledge, the government of Ghana is trying their best, but as we all know, it is not enough, and we the youth are facing the challenges of youth employment. However, there is this guy called Chini Jonas who challenged the government with all kinds of words. My question is, looking at trend, majority of the youth are supporting him. They are gradually applauding the young man. Do you think this is the right way to chastise the government, because we can't hold the government accountable? Many have seen that the young man is doing a good job. What's your opinion? And then one from Richmond Forces says, Chairman AK Menza, your blood is boiling, pound. My guy, don't let Ghana problems give you BPY. I beg, before take some chilled water. And but I don't know. So from Gabriel, well, I think it's a bit difficult. What's our take on the style of Chini Jonas? Well, I can't fault him. I think he's doing good. There are a few things he could also change. I personally feel that the insults are not needed, And of course, sometimes, let me be frank, that some of the things he says, they are not factual. But we are human beings. I mean, we are fallible, so we can allow him. But overall, I think if we could all speak like he's doing, devoid of insults, I think this is the way to go. We should all speak and put pressure on the government in order to do the right thing. So this would be my view on that. Then many civil society, the last one from Samson in Cancer here, many civil society organizations don't want to share their views on issues because immediately they voice out, then people tag them with a certain political party. Please, what's your view on it? And your advice to the civil society organizations. I don't know whether, Albert, you want to have a bite on it, but personally, I think this is something that would never stop.
Just a quick one on the style of the question from Gabriel. As a matter of fact, I must add something here. Abroad is not heaven. Okay, the best place for everybody is home.
But there are those who say home is where the heart is.
I agree. But I don't know the day everybody want to return home. Because you have it at the back of your brain that there's home somewhere.
True.
Everybody would like to return home. Why don't we build a better society at home so that when we come, we can sleep in peace without somebody coming to take your life?
Time, please. So if you want to,
so everybody's views matter. Everybody, no view is sacrosanct. Everybody's view, whether the person is insulting or not. But I am vehemently and strongly against the use of insult on whether the young or the elderly, because societal problems and public policy is made with scientific findings that work. So they are not about it. It's not a matter of expression of emotions and sentiment. It's about scientific findings. So that is what we should all yearn for, and try to be circumspect and modest with our use of insult and all that. Let us always come up with suggestions that can help to inform policy, lift many out of poverty, and set all of us on the path of prosperity and progress.
Thank you very much. But I feel that I should say something small about what Samson and Cancer said, and I think this would be also my concluding remark, and then we'll end the show. Thank you very much, Ekimensa. Thank you very much, Edmond, for producing. So your question about the advice for civil society organizations, the fact that anytime they speak on a particular issue, they are tagged to belong to a particular political party. I think this is something that will not end. It won't end today, it won't end tomorrow, trust me. As we speak as SEPSA Africa as an organization, there are a few times we've been tagged to be party A or party B because we spoke against a particular issue.
It has always happened to me.
This is part of the game. It's part of it as civil society groups. So I feel what is important, and not only civil society groups, Samson, and this is the concluding remark from my side as well. I think all of us are part of the civil society group. We need to speak on issues. What is important is that we should be factual and we should be objective on issues. I think with that, we'll be able to move the country forward. Thank you very much, Ekimensa. Thank you very much again, Edmond. Thanks to those of you who joined us via Zoom, Samson and Cancer, James, those of you who sent messages via Facebook, we say thank you. Hopefully next week we meet again. I am Evans Apia Kisi. See you next week. Bye-bye.